All right. Can you guys hear me okay online? Want to make sure. Awesome. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us in person and on Zoom. We're really excited for our speaker today. It's the first one of 2023, and we're starting off really well. So I'm going to read a little bit about Tamara, and then she's going to come up and share her career story. And we'll have some time for questions at the end once we're all finished. But here we go. So about 10 years ago, Tamara Dwyer started working as a street outreach specialist with Youth Emergency Services and spent a few years with that organization while attending classes to pursue her bachelor's in social work at Iowa Western Community College and Nebraska Wesleyan University. In 2017, she started working at Stevens Center as a case manager. She graduated with her bachelor's degree in 2018 and was accepted into UNO's Master of Social Work program, graduating in 2021. In 2019, she accepted a position with Match as the Continuum of Care Support Specialist, and in 2022 was promoted as the Coordinated Entry and Housing Problem Solving Program Manager. She currently works as the Homeless Services Coordinator for the City of Omaha Mayor's Office and started that role in December of 2022. Prior to Homeless Services, Tamara worked as cashier, certified nursing assistant, and bartender, among other various jobs. So everyone, Tamara Dwyer.
Thank you so much. Let's see, I'm in a good spot here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you to Jasmine and Derek and Heartland Workforce Solutions for inviting me. I have some notes here. When you all asked me to do this, I was thinking, what is my career story? I have to think about this for a while. This might be a long one because I worked several different kinds of jobs over my life. I could probably talk for a long time. I have some notes, making sure I don't forget anything. But when I think about my career story in general, I think in the past, I've just thought about, okay, my resume, filling out applications, my job history, that kind of thing. But in reality, it's a lot more than that, right? It's a lot of things that you experience in your life and a lot of in your career that aren't necessarily put on your resume or in those applications. I'll start currently, as Nicole did let you know, I'm working at the mayor's office as the homeless services coordinator, and I just started that job in December of last year. Very first homeless services coordinator. I was very honored and excited to be offered that position. And let's see. Currently, like she said, I have my master's in social work. I am a provisionally licensed mental health practitioner, provisionally licensed certified social worker. So working towards those hours of full licensure, which is a long journey typically. I also currently have a private practice for therapy, very small caseload. So, part of my career story of working towards those licensure hours and doing private practice on the side. Going back, thinking about careers, my very first job, right? I'll go all the way back to my very first job. I worked at McDonald's. It's nothing too exciting, right? I worked at McDonald's for a few years as a teenager. And thinking about my life and my opportunities within my career story, I didn't have a lot of opportunity, low income. I had a high ACE score and all of those things, right? So I didn't really think that I had lots of opportunities ahead of me. I shared with Jasmine and Nicole and Stan when I got here that a thing that I think that is really interesting and nice was that when I was 20, I went into my local workforce development location when I was in Iowa and Council Bluffs, and told them I wanted to do CNA classes and I need help paying for it. Well, they said, well, you have to get your GED first. So I did that, but the Workforce Development Center helped me pay for my GED when I was 20 and helped me attend CNA classes, helped me get a job. And I worked as a CNA for a few years. A couple of years later, I was in Michigan and found myself without a job with 2 small children. Went into a workforce development center because I was receiving welfare at that time, so I kind of had to. But no less, it was very helpful. And through one of their workforce programs, working with employers, I was able to get a job that they like a provisional type of job that set me on a path to, you know, more secure employment, right? Those are my couple of experiences with workforce development, but they've been great. I think that they led the way, of course, getting my GED and getting some professional, you know, training, some with a CNA course set me on that path. I tried various different things, like Nicole had mentioned when she introduced me, I've worked as a cashier, I've worked in retail, I've worked factory jobs, I've worked lots of different things. In my 20s, I tried to go to college, didn't work out. In my late 20s, I started back to the college, I guess, experience that kind of stuck, you know, and when I was 28, I started at Iowa Western Community College, started within their nursing program, quickly realized I wanted to work more in human services, psychology type of thing. So switched to that, and then transferred to Nebraska Wesleyan to finish my bachelor's in social work. While I was there, I worked being a single mom, had to work several different jobs through many years. So I worked as a bartender. I also worked as a paraeducator in a school district, and worked in homeless services at youth emergency services. And it took me about 10 years to complete my bachelor's, a little under 10 years, probably about 8 years. And it was hard. And I thought I would never get done, but I did eventually get done. And as soon as I got done with that, I went on for my master's. You know, that I definitely had a passion for homeless services, being someone that has experienced that throughout various times in my life. And it was just something that I was good at understanding and I guess relating to, if that makes sense. But I think that just thinking about my story or my journey really led me to really understanding like how each of those experiences, even I worked at some jobs, you know, I might have gotten fired from a couple jobs because I was young and dumb and maybe wasn't as responsible as I should have been, or maybe was working too much, or maybe I didn't have a stable place to live, so that made it really hard to be presentable at a job, right? So it affected some of my work history and why I changed a lot when I was younger, changed positions a lot when I was younger. I tried a lot of different things just to make ends meet, and that was the majority of my adult life, was just trying to make ends meet and not really even thinking about a career. That's probably why it also took me almost 10 years to complete my bachelor's, because it was more of just making ends meet and surviving every day, paying the bills and taking care of the kids. And it makes it really hard to think about that this is a story that's, you know, playing out for my whole life. That's the little pieces in the journey, I guess, and the things that you learn from all of the people. Let's see. I don't know if anyone has any, I mean, I'm really quick with this, but you know, I have lots of different various jobs I can talk about. When I think about working with in different areas or different, I guess, teams or supervisors or things like that, something that I've tried to remember for the past couple of years is that no matter where I am or somebody is, they're a leader, right? You're in some kind of leadership capacity, and that is a part of, you know, your career, no matter where you are, and your life, right? You can lead folks if it's a group of people you're case managing, or, you know, if it's of course, children, if you have children, right? Or siblings, and you're leading along the way. And part of being able to really see, I mean, how much you're impacting folks in that way. I wasn't able to see that until recently, right? Until I was able to not be so much in a survival mode of meeting my needs day by day, meeting my kids' needs day by day. Don't realize it at the time. And sometimes it feels like it's never ending.
Question on the leadership thing, do you have someone in your career pathway that, like, you know, was inspiring you or was a mentor to you, or that you kind of looked to along the way? And I mean, what advice would you give to people as well to seek out kind of folks in their career pathways to, you know, to look towards for guidance in their career?
Yeah, I think I have several people at different parts of my life, right? That kind of inspired me or helped me, mentored me in some kind of a way. I think that the main thing is the relationships that really were meaningful to me were authentic and not completely professional, right? They were just authentic in nature and genuine, and those people not only, you know, cared about me professionally, but also cared about me personally, and I could feel that, right? And those were the folks that really impacted me the most, and believed in me, and let me know that they believed in me, right? And no matter how little or how much I was doing, or, you know, whatnot, they were always there supporting me and asking me questions, not only professionally, but personally.
Was there a time in your career that you decided that you said about like multiple different career pathways that you take? What made you go down the path of the services?
I think when I was at Iowa Western, I started taking, I think, some generalist classes, maybe some intro to psychology, intro to human services, just as some credits while I was waiting for like nursing program stuff. And something about the connection in those classes and the instructors just really resonated with me and clicked. And I honestly, at that point, I was like 28, 29. I didn't even know that social work was a thing or what it was. So it was a new thing to me too. And just something about just the people that were involved really resonated with me more. And I'm like, I gotta switch to this. This is like my calling.
When did you start to feel that you were getting out of that survival? Like, what was the jump that?
Oh gosh. I think when I truly felt that way was just in the past couple of years. When working with Match, when I worked with the continuum of care, my supervisor was really supportive of me throughout that time, and our whole team was advocated for to, receive equitable pay, because that's a big part of being able to really be out of that survival mode where you can focus more on your career, right? So within the past couple of years, that has been more of a thing for me, where I can actually think about, my career and what I want to do, and forward thinking a little bit. I think forcibly, I was kind of, fell off the cliff, right? Medicaid and childcare and all of that. When I started at Stevens Center, and I made, I think, like $7 over the limit for the month. And I'm like, I don't want to like take a lower paying job. I want to keep going, but it was very hard. Like that was one of the most difficult times of losing every benefit that I had in order to stay on a path moving forward.
Do you have a moment in your career where you just like, hey, I really accomplished something big, like a project that stands out, or even just like a moment where you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing what I really wanted to be doing?
I think that there's been a few times that I've felt that way. One of them that really sticks out for me is when I left Stevens Center to work for Match. I worked all the way up until the last day and, transitioned. But my clients that I was working in the permanent supportive housing, and my clients that lived there had a little going away party for me and wrote me some very sweet letters that I still have today. And I think that really showed me that, like, I'm really helping people the way that I want to help people. I think also, being offered a job in the mayor's office speaks volumes to all of the work that I have done over the past 10 years within homeless services, and all of the knowledge that I've taken in. So, that also was a nice thing to, think about.
Do you have any advice for college? You mentioned that you took you a few years extra to complete college. It for me as well. I have 3 small kids at the time, working with them as well. Do you have any advice for folks that are kind of in that same situation where they're non-traditional students, they're juggling a bunch of things, and they're also trying to attend college? Like, what are some of the best strategies for that?
I think, giving yourself grace and knowing that you might not be able to sometimes have a full semester of classes, and sometimes you will. It probably depends on the classes. Lean on your peers in the programs. And I think also knowing you're gonna fail, because it's hard for anyone, and especially if you have a lot of barriers and obstacles, it's going to be more, even more hard for you. Failure never feels good, but it's going to be there, and keep going through it. I can't tell you how many classes I failed because it was really hard. So right now, my role is really learning what the community needs from me and the mayor's office, and putting together some priorities that we could help initiate or achieve, or some things that we can support and back within the mayor's office. Organizing the mayor's homeless task force and helping them get some strategy and goals, behind their work. And it can mean lots of several things. And since this is a brand new position, kind of figuring out what exactly that looks like and how it can be most beneficial to the community.
So what's the challenge relative to training positions? First, you might have the way kind of sort of goes on.
Yeah, I think that is a pro, with it being a new position, being able to, figure out what the right thing is to advise the mayor on for this position, what is the right strategy. And also some cons is it being new, right? Like what is needed is the vision that was developed for this position, the right type of vision, is it, or does it need to be adjusted? That's some cons, and just trying to put it all together. It is a big job and it's very important to the mayor in the city. So trying to do the right thing for folks experiencing homelessness and service providers providing services to folks experiencing homelessness is really the ultimate goal, to be able to help end homelessness.
So the code effect is still real,
Mhm.
and that we see it at HWS. Our competition presidents. And I'm just wondering what advice from someone who, I mean, it goes to something about the day, we need the future.
Yeah.
Is there any advice we give to them? Long class and benefits of sticking it out?
I mean, it lasts. I mean, it kind of depends on how long it lasts, how further you do Excel, or, how much more you're able to increase your income. For me, it was really helpful that I had a partner. Of course, they weren't paid extremely well at the time, but that helped having that. If I didn't have that, probably would not have been able to do things like pay my rent and pay my bills. I mean, that's very scary, right? To think of, or I would have had to take on more jobs. And at that time, I decided I just wanted to work the one job so I can focus on school and career. And I was able to do that to an extent. I still occasionally did some like serving or bartending, but not nearly as much as I did before. Now, without that support around me, I would have probably had to continue working, 2 and 3 jobs on a regular basis. I think the benefit to sticking it out, I guess, not a better way to put it, but like just, going through and keep going. The benefit is that the end outcome, right? What are you wanting to do? Being able to get to that point where you're not so much just surviving each day or each week, but you're able to really enjoy your life and your journey. It's hard to say everybody's experiences are different, right? It doesn't look the same for everyone. So it's hard to say that would be best for each person, but I mean, that's kind of what it looked like for me. Oh, no, my hours, my licensure, yes. Yeah, so, I mean, I have my MSW, of course, and when I graduated, I just felt that getting fully licensed was beneficial. I went through the program and, you know, I might as well do that if I'm able to. They give you quite a few years to do that. Most people finish it in just a few years, but I likely won't, and I know that, so I'm just waiting it out because I don't have a large amount of time that I dedicate to direct client work, and that's where a lot of you get those hours. But my end goal is just, you know, have that licensure because it is it's a very beneficial thing, and I have that option available to me from my education. So I thought that it would just be best for me to have that under my belt.
Could you talk a little bit more about graduate studies, kind of the comparison of graduate school versus undergraduate courses and expectations versus realities?
I think for me, when I attended graduate school was right when the pandemic started, kind of in that phase, right in the middle of it. And my experience was for that, some things were a little more flexible just because of what was going on. And I think that more professors have stuck to being flexible for their students because things are hard sometimes. And most of the time, if you're in a graduate program, you are living life and going to school and working, you know, so trying to be understanding of those situations in comparison to my undergrad. To me, it was a little bit easier because it was focused on my major, right? I didn't have lots of prerequisites. I didn't have lots of general classes added to it. You know, for the majority of the time, it was focused on my major. So to me, I enjoy my major, so it was a little bit easier for me to get through that program, right? And with a little more stability in my life at that time, I was able to get through it much quicker than my undergrad.
So you talked about that you've had a lot of different work experiences, and just, you know, one thing that's a common thing that we talk about is workplace culture, and how businesses can really help support their employees through good workplace culture. And just kind of thinking about good examples and bad examples that you've seen through your career pathway. And you felt really supported in certain positions and in other positions not so much. And
Yeah,
any advice for businesses that might be tuning in?
I think when I was young and I was working jobs like, you know, as a cashier and retail and factory work, that kind of thing, I didn't really have a high expectation for culture. You know, it's like I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out, that kind of thing, even though it was, affected my life, right? Because I spent a lot of time at work. So most of the culture that I experienced in those positions, those lower entry level type positions, was the way that I interacted with my peers and my coworkers, and just being able to get along with people and work with people. I guess for those positions, that's kind of I don't really recall like, oh, but that was a time when, you know, there wasn't a lot of things about workplace culture, and there wasn't a lot of, you know, everybody getting together and doing, you know, some workshops. There wasn't a lot of that, you know, 20 years ago or something, you know, but I think now or more recently, really environments where there has been a lot of flexibility and a lot of people who not only cared about the work that I was doing, but appreciated the work. It showed me that they appreciated the work that I was doing, but also cared about me as a person, and tried to be flexible to my needs as a person and not only as a professional. I think those were some of the best spaces, and knowing that no matter what my supervisors or my coworkers would always support me because they trusted me. And they know that, you know, I'm there for a reason because they want me on their team, and just having that trust that doesn't need to be said every day, but I can make a decision. And I know that, you know, in those spaces, the supervisors that I had would always stand behind me because they trusted me. I think that has a lot of impact, at least for me, it did.
So I said like four, maybe 3 or 4.
That's all right.
And I'm sure this page by location, where you are,
Mhm.
that's, I'm just curious as to what in your opinion, like, biggest threat to the homeless population there, and see the most need they need, and this will not be a good job. for homeless population versus-
I think right now, across the board, the lack of accessible affordable housing is the biggest issue. Because it doesn't matter how many vouchers we have to help folks if we don't have units for them to use them in. I think that's the biggest threat. What was the second part now?
The biggest need. is-
Affordable housing, biggest need. I think also with that, both of those things is collaboration amongst systems and amongst organizations, businesses, community members, just collaboration on all levels, and folks experiencing homelessness is desperately needed. Working together outside of our organizations and outside of our circles. And third, I think, Omaha does. I think Omaha is trying to do a good job. But it's really hard when there's not enough affordable housing anywhere. So Omaha is doing a good job at trying to fix that. The mayor did dedicate some ARPA money with Front Porch to kind of help increase affordable housing. So, you know, doing things like that, trying to make it better and trying to do a good job, of course, down the line. Of course, we're gonna need more, but it has to start somewhere, and things like that is a great place to start.
So what's up, how to stand out is like now.
Where is that? The location. Oh. Okay, that location is. I believe it is I think it's non-congregate shelter. I think that's where the non-congregate shelter is, so, the non-congregate shelter. Mhm. So, more like transitional shelter, not permanent affordable housing. I don't know if that would be a long-term goal, I'm not quite sure.
So this is a 14-part question. Trying to get you in there.
One part at a time, you know.
This is a simple one. So, you know, we're always looking for social media soundbites and stuff like that, but as a professional living and working in Omaha, what are some things that Omaha has going for professionals and nice people on a live and work in Omaha?
I think Omaha has a lot of unique opportunities and a lot of organizations and businesses that want to be innovative and offer unique opportunities to young folks or people that are, you know, developed in their careers. I think that's one great thing that Omaha has to offer. There's lots of innovation and creativity just waiting to happen and waiting for, you know, new ideas to develop and new careers to develop out of that. Yes.
So your current working person department, do you like have people working at your division or how's it?
So right now I work in the mayor's office. So I work with, that's my department. So I work with everyone there. Not right now. I'm a one-man team right now, but, it could, expand, kind of depends how the position and priorities develop. And what the mayor feels is important to help support this work.
So what's in the future for you? What's like your 5-year plan or 10-year plan, or even a 100-year plan if we're able to expand life expectations and become travelers or something?
Yeah. Man, I think for me, right now, 5-year plan is probably, trying to really strengthen relationships and collaboration in Omaha amongst homeless service providers. And really, if you think about the bigger picture of homelessness, every single organization in Omaha contributes to homeless prevention, right? Even Heartland Workforce Solutions. Getting people on a path for a better career is actively homeless prevention every single day. And getting people to kind of understand that, for me, just continuing to develop my role within the mayor's office in, 5 to 10 years, I really see my career staying within homeless services. I really have a passion for it, so I don't see that changing, but really increasing that within that, just increasing the collaboration and education and resources in the community. So people can understand it better and what it looks like. Personally, I do lots of things, lots of networking. I'm involved in some boards and some other things. Young nonprofit professionals, I'm teetering out of the young stage. But I am part of that group, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of learning from many other nonprofit professionals in different areas, everything from arts to food insecurity to whatnot, all the different nonprofits and some even for-profit that work with our groups. And gosh, just enjoying my time in being able to not worry about taking care of myself every day, taking care of my kids, and being able to, what do I do with all this free time and not having to work so much and not having to go to school, and what do I like to do, and exploring that. Yeah, right now I just enjoy a lot of doing nothing in my free time because I am used to doing lots of things. So I just spend time with my family and, at my home where it's my home, and it's, just enjoying that space.
Well, Tamara, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I answered anyone's questions, and
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone online. We will see you next month, Wednesday, March 29th at 11 a.m. Come see us in person at the Connect or online. See you then.